Hello and welcome to our Thursday night live big carnivore Q&A. We have Dr. Grandpa Robert Kiltz on tonight. Ashley Carnivore
Yay.
Brothers, Doctor and comedian Dr. Nelson on tonight. And we have Lynn from Midlife Carnivore. How you all doing?
Doing great.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Huge congratulations to Dr. Kiltz on the new beautiful little grandson. How's that going?
Oh, it's amazing. I feel younger every day. And Dr. Nelson always said, Kiltz, it's going to change your life. And it feels that already. It's amazing.
Amazing.
All I want to do is I'm going to go down there this weekend. I just want to keep on going visiting.
That's such a beautiful thing. I'm so happy for you.
Congratulations.
All right. Well, it looks like we have a lot of people jumping on. We are here tonight to answer any questions you have on the carnivore diet or having grandchildren or any other question you might have. While people are still jumping on here, wanted to do a little announcement. We have a big meetup coming up in Austin, Texas. We'll show you here on the screen, March 8th, and Dr. Kiltz is going to be there. Ashley's going to be there. Adam's going to be there. Lynn's going to be there. We have Laura Knight Hughes, the Texas Boys, Nia Nova, Pastors Jimmy and Annette Pruitt. Tickets are selling. If you want to get one, it's at healinghumanity.movie/events. And we have a little something else we're going to show you. But Ashley, did I miss anything there?
No, we need to make sure that we get as many people there as possible, because I think what you're going to show in a minute will hopefully inspire some others. I mean, these meetups are absolutely so much fun and incredible, and there's something about being in person and being there together. This is going to be a fun one because we've got a good length of time, and we've got an amazing lineup of speakers, a great Q&A session planned, and just a lot of time for interaction and meeting other people, pictures with Dr. Kiltz and Carrie. And I mean, come on, who wouldn't have a blast?
We got to get Dr. Vasquez out there.
Yeah, come on, Dr. Nelson.
I got to talk to Ali, see if Ali can coax him.
Well, in the meantime, we're going to show you this quick little clip. And this is starring Dr. Robert Kiltz. You may not know what I'm showing yet, but this is a little video from our Arizona meetup. And I think this will inspire some people. Just a lot of people here watching maybe have not attended one of these meetups yet. And I find them very inspiring. There's just something about being in a room with a bunch of people who have been through something hard like we have, who have found healing, who have a second chance at life, who have that carnivore energy. So this is a little taste of what's to come if you decide to come to one of our meetups. So I'm going to share this with you here, and then we're going to jump right into your questions after. Here we go. Put this a little larger. We're here celebrating humanity, and we're in a movie theater. The goal of today is let's celebrate the real heroes that are walking around in the world instead of the fake heroes that we see on the screen. Hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things, and no good thing ever dies. We're going to celebrate you who has decided to stop poisoning yourself, and you who has decided to heal yourself.
You guys, you have to focus on your livers, you have to focus on your metabolic rate, you have to focus on getting your organs, your visceral fat, all of this stuff under control.
I had to go on a very low histamine lion diet and making sure that all of my food was not aged, not smoked. I couldn't do egg whites, I couldn't do black pepper, I couldn't do cultured butter. I had to be very, very careful.
We have to be our own doctors. We have to be our own nurses. We have to be our own caregivers.
There were days, I don't mean like some days, where I was too sick to even get up and get a drink of water.
I'm not saying eat 2 sticks of butter a day, but I'm saying like let's tweak things up. You gotta find a way to get a little more food in your system. Start with breakfast even if you're not hungry.
We're all here sharing our stories. And I got to tell you, I've got tears in my eyes and listening to all the amazing stories, because we're all on a hero's journey.
You, just by being here today, are supporting this cause, and you're
helping other people to hear this information and heal just by being here in this room.
All right, there we go.
So
I'm
good.
excited. Dr. Kiltz, are you ready to do another one of these meetups?
I love them. I basically, Elliot says where they're at. And I said, let's get over there. And so we want to just keep on doing these around the globe. And I'll be in Australia. And I think we need, while I'm there, we do a Healing Humanity meetup. So we got to work on that in April. So we'll it's going to be, it's so important around the globe what you've been doing, and I'm grateful to be part of this. All I can tell you.
I couldn't be more thankful to you, Dr. Kiltz, everyone that's been supporting us, but Dr. Kiltz in particular. I was going through a lot of our footage from some of these meetups earlier. I'm like, this is incredible. We were in the United Kingdom, and Dr. Kiltz came out to that meetup, the Arizona meetup, the little one we had here in Montello, and it's just been such a blessing and honor. There's just something about these stories. They're so powerful, and it never gets old. And I would be content and happy to listen to these stories for the rest of my life. It's just a real blessing that we get to, in some way, be a conduit, I guess, to share these stories and get them out there to the world, because they're just so important. So really excited for more meetups. I know, Dr. Kiltz, you mentioned the Australia one. You've got some other ones coming up too. Do you have them? Is it drkiltz.com for people if they want to find more?
Yeah, I think it's drkiltz.com where you could find a list of our others coming up. And we've got Meat Stock, Hack Your Health. We've got the one in Australia, and just really excited about all these. And, between seeing Lynn and Amy and Ashley and Dr. Nelson Vasquez and yourself and the whole community, because, for generations and generations, we've been coming together. And I was watching a show about Paleolithic and Neolithic evolution, and it was really interesting that they could see clearly that the Neolithic, where they began to use grains and plants in the diet, really began to wreak havoc compared to the animal-based diet. And we need to get together and have these gatherings. And as long as Ashley is there and able to help cook Brett, I'm in on that, and love to see everyone there, because we're all family. That's the most important part of this.
Absolutely. And huge shout out again to Ashley, not only for cooking, but man, organizing these things as well. It's that whole Arizona one was amazing. And I know a lot of work went into that, so we really appreciate it. So,
Oh, it's fun. Of course.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's so true. It doesn't even feel weird when you get together in person with people that you've met online. It's just, you think, oh, maybe it's going to be awkward or weird, but it's not at all. It's just like, oh, we're all friends, we're all family. And now we can actually give hugs.
I keep saying that with the meetups that I go to. It's like, I can tell. I was like, oh, there's a carnivore, there's a carnivore, there's a carnivore. It's just funny. The smile, the glow. It's just, it's just a fun atmosphere to be in. That's for sure.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to jump into some questions. If you have any questions for the panel here, please post them. And of course, we're going to do a giveaway. Let's give away a Healing Humanity t-shirt. So post your best question right now with hashtag ribeye. If you have a question for Dr. Kiltz, Ashley, Lynn, Dr. Nelson, myself, any question, use hashtag ribeye. We're going to do a drawing in a couple minutes for a Healing Humanity shirt. Let's see what questions we have here. And we got a couple quite a few new members. Thank you so much. Julie Collins, Gigi, Lynette, Mary, Irina,
Awesome.
Joanne. Thank you so much. Every penny from the memberships goes right towards our documentary. And our good friend Caleb looks like has a question and a $5 super chat. Shout out Caleb's Carnivore Quest. He was out at our Arizona meetup. He's got a wonderful YouTube channel. Do you ever get sick on carnivore? And if so, how to deal with it? I have no appetite, so I'm just drinking water right now. Caleb's a little under the weather right now. Anyone ever get sick on carnivore here?
I haven't yet, but I know people do. And I mean, I'm fortunate I haven't so far, but I know that if you can get broth in, that's good. Get some sodium. But
I've had COVID for sure 2 times. It probably was 3 because I didn't test as well. But 2 days, at the most 3 days, and I was back. No medications, no antiviral. Yeah.
And I would tell you that I've had a few early upper respiratory things or GI things, but they clear up so fast and it's almost nothing compared to what they used to be, for sure. And, more fasting, more bone broth, more butter. That's what's helped, I think.
I haven't been sick yet since I started carnivore, but then we were on one of these live streams a couple of weeks ago, actually, and Todd Bachnis was on there, and he asked me, he said, well, are you sure? Because maybe you've got sick, but like Dr. Kilt said, I just didn't feel it the same way at all. And my immune system is just, I think, going full cylinder right now. So it's, I've felt great all through this season, and, people are dropping flu like crazy right now. So.
Yeah, that's what happens to my husband. Since he's been carnivore, and he used to get sick 2-3 times a season. And now he'll feel a little tickle, like a scratch or something in his throat, and it's gone the next day. Mm-hmm. But, I know not everybody is that fortunate to have it go away that quickly. But I do think that the more, you're in ketosis and you're carnivore, you're going to be more resilient, and you should at least get over it more quickly than you would have in the past.
I feel like I've dodged a few early on before the girls were all carnivore. I remember once, like, the whole family was sick, and then I started getting it. I was like, it was a couple minutes, and then it just went away. And I was like, man, I wonder what I just dodged there, because prior to carnivore, I would have been probably laid up in bed and sick for I was always sick a couple times a year, and I just don't get that anymore on carnivore. So great question, Caleb. Thank you. Just quick reminder, I don't know if I mentioned this. So post your question with hashtag ribeye. And also I have a link to Dr. Kilt, Ashley, Dr. Nelson, Lynn in the description below. So in order to win the shirt, you just follow each of those individuals. It takes like 2 seconds. Give them some love and some support, and then hashtag ribeye, and we'll do our best to answer your question here. We also have shout out to, where did it go here? Who's Your Carnivore gifted 5 Homestead House memberships. I'm pretty sure I saw that in there. Now I can't find it. I'll find it and I'll show it. Thank you, Who's Your Carnivore, Brett. Really appreciate that. Caroline is asking, for those of us who cannot attend the meetup, is there any way we can contribute and attend virtually? Thought to ask, thank you. We tried twice now to do these as streams, and it's been, it was a nightmare. And we did it in the UK, and the sound wasn't working, and there was no one there to really troubleshoot it. We have, however, been getting better at filming these. Dr. Kiltz, you had some excellent footage from the last one. So we're going to try to do more of that. Check out Dr. Kiltz and his YouTube channel. You put out some really good videos from the last couple of events.
And we should keep on trying to get a live stream there. That'd be really nice. And another way for people to contribute.
The audio, because I don't think the video itself is much problem. Is the longer run, the audio was difficult to follow.
Yeah, we were troubleshooting it, and there wasn't time for Adam and I to troubleshoot the one in the UK, but you almost need an audio guy there to link into their system and make sure it's all working. Otherwise, you get a weird echo with the microphones. It's happened. We've tried twice now, so we weren't just giving up, and it's been really tricky, but we'll have to make it happen or get in a space that's kind of has the setup ready to go where we can plug into their system. But we should have some video. I'm definitely going to be filming. I had my camera attached to my arm in the Florida one, and I'm going to be doing the same in Texas as well, to gather as much as we can to share with you guys afterwards. And
you did a great recap video on your channel. I know Dr. Kiltz put out a couple of things. I did a recap video for Arizona. We'll try to keep doing a little, at least put some of that together with some highlights and some of the messages in there, because it's just so good. It's hard to capture it all for sure. But.
Yep. 100%. That's another good reason. Hit the description and follow all these folks. You can watch Dr. Kiltz's YouTube channel, Ashley's. That was a fun part for me after seeing the different perspectives and the different videos people did. So Amy says, hey, Dr. Kiltz, how are you?
Amy, I'm awesome. Now that I'm GPK, Grandpa Kiltz, and Julio is a beautiful little baby boy, 7 pounds, 3 ounces, born on Monday. to Pilar and Luca. Really excited. I was there for the delivery, and it was just precious. So I'm blessed.
Mama's doing good.
Mama, Dad are both doing great, and they're home from the hospital today and doing fantastic. And it's just such a amazing thing. Bringing little children, babies into the home. That's just what it's all about.
Amazing. Live well, die well says, I have my tickets and we are excited.
Hey.
Wonderful. Ellen says, meetups are awesome. It's really fun hanging out and interacting in the chat on the lives, but in person is next level wonderful. Getting face to face and hopefully eating some yummy meat.
Yes.
Shout out, Ellen. Thank you. All right. Hey, real quick, shout out Limitless Lindy. Hope you're doing well. Limitless Lindy says good morning.
Lindy, hi.
Talk about inspiring. Limitless Lindy, man.
Yeah, check out Limitless Lindy. Great YouTube channel there as well. Okay, here we go. There's a question from REM. Hi, team. Thanks for all you do. I want to know if anyone thinks that taking Tutka, I'm probably saying that wrong, for IBS-D would be helpful.
I wonder if what country is that from? Because that doesn't look familiar to me.
I'm not sure.
The Tutka. Is that a supplement? Let's see. It looks like it's a supplement.
It's a water-soluble bile salt naturally occurring in the body.
Is a bile acid naturally formed in the body that supports digestion, utilization of fats and oils. And so, I mean, IBS-D is a nerve. It's your nervous system. You're basically your nerves are not working. The feeding into your colon are not working properly. It's not so much a digestive issue, such as inflammatory bowel disease, gastritis, some of these other things, even a gallbladder issue. This is more neurological. So, I know that in the time that I spent as a GI nurse, it was definitely a different approach to IBS, whether it be IBS-D or IBS-C. So I have never heard of using anything that relates to bile as being helpful for IBS-D. Now, if it's that you have a bile issue, then possibly. But if it's truly IBS, then I can imagine that it would help, except possibly maybe change the composition of your stool. I don't know, Dr. Nelson, any thoughts?
My gut feeling is not going to do much.
Yeah, I mean, basically the doctors, that I worked for, they would usually just prescribe dicyclamine and see if you could have a little bit of help with that. But we would also help people get into like helping their parasympathetic nervous system with doing like box breathing, these exercises that would just kind of help settle your nervous system down. There have been studies that show that type of breathing can actually help with IBS. And so that would be something that you could try, is doing the box breathing exercises. And then so many people have found benefit from IBS on the carnivore diet.
Butter. Kill the microbes.
Yeah, and of course butter too. If you got diarrhea, you got to be careful. But
but it'll kill the microbes.
Yeah,
it's the microbes that are our biggest problem, and that's one of the things I think that it's carnivore is really, but fatty meat is really key, and fasting.
All right, we've got a question from Frank. Why is it that I'm getting leg cramps at night, but yet I have electrolytes and magnesium regularly?
The leg cramp might not be only from magnesium, number one. I used to have leg cramps even before going keto and carnivore. So it wasn't for the same reasons, but I take magnesium regularly, and I think that has helped a lot. I now don't have the cramps as much. Now, it depends how much you're taking. I take 240 milligrams twice a day of magnesium glycinate. but I also have some magnesium oil in the bathroom, and sometimes I use it topically and just massage the areas, keep spraying until the cramp goes away. Usually helps within a couple of minutes. Epsom salt is magnesium. You can do Epsom salt baths as well.
All right.
Stretching. You know, things like yoga. Those are all good things to help. And I think massage and sauna, I think helps too.
Thank you. Okay, next question we have. Loney Singleton. Carrie, can you give us the crockpot stew recipe? Crackpot or crockpot, we can go with either one there. This is gonna be real quick. In fact, we made this last night.
It's so difficult.
Yeah, I take a slow cooker. I buy stew meat that's just cut up chunks of meat. I put it in the slow cooker. Sometimes I put a little bit of water in it, and then I put it on low, and then I wake up the next morning with a big smile on my face. And I had an extra large smile on my face this morning because I did what I just described. And Jen purchased a new crock pot, and she didn't realize that I already put meat in one. It was right next to where she was working, but she put the other slow cooker on with a rump roast in it. So long story short, I woke up this morning with crackpot stew and big fatty rump roast, and the house smelled incredible, and I ate most of it. The girls ate some of it, but I ate most of it. But it's very simple. There really isn't much of a recipe. You know, at the end, I'll add a little bit of Malden sea salt, and I like to have cold pads of butter next to it. Yes. In the early days, I'd melt the butter in it. I put the butter in it, and it would melt, but I like the butter cold and a little.
I follow your original. I think your recipe changes all the time because I follow the first time I heard you share that recipe. You had us, obviously stew meat, and then you had us pour beef broth like halfway up so that it wasn't covering the meat. And then I put the whole stick of butter in from the very beginning and just let it cook in the butter and salt it. And so I do a little bit extra, but that was the original recipe I heard you share.
I think it's. Well, I never did the beef broth. I put water in it, but I think
okay, maybe it was water. I did beef broth, but water. You're right, water.
I think you're right though. I think I used to just chuck the butter in at the beginning. I have no recipes. I don't measure anything. I don't do anything. But more lately, I just do the butter afterwards. I just feel better with the cold butter. I don't know.
This week I made chick meat.
Yes,
which I had not tried before. Very fatty.
Barbacoa.
And I put some salt at the bottom. Then put the chick meat. Didn't put water. Left it there for 8 hours, and there was pretty amount of beef broth there, and it was so fatty that when it cooled down, the whole thing looked like all beef tallow.
Yeah, that's Carrie. Emma did that the cheese taco shells on your video there, and that barbacoa, that cheek meat. Ooh, you put some of that in the taco shell.
Oh, that'd be a good one.
Shell. You have her try that next time. It's incredible.
Good tips. I'm getting hungry. Listening to this. All right, we're gonna do a drawing in just
to me.
Right. We're going to do a drawing for the Healing Humanity shirt in just a couple minutes. Hashtag ribeye if you have any other questions. We've got a question from Carla Voss. Do you have any recommendations for macro percentages to eat on carnivore?
Dr. Kiltz does.
Eat fatty meat and then repeat. Add some salt, and rare to raw is the best way to do it. I don't measure. I eat till I'm full. Yeah, and I might cook a little bit more, or I cook a little bit, then I add some more. If I want to cook, I'd usually do it black and blue. But personally, I don't think anyone really knows that answer, or we're making it up. This stuff, and I think we focus too much on protein. It's more fat is really the important part to do it. It's more satiating, and it's what your body wants truly more than anything, and it kills the microbes in the gut. But most people talk about a 1-to-1 in the sense of caloric. So usually about 1/3, 2/3 of fat to lean meat. But I like the white stuff more than anything. Dr. Vasquez, what are your thoughts?
Fatty meat. I've been eating past few weeks now higher fat than protein, and for 11 days haven't used insulin. My blood sugars are all under 100 when I wake up, so my fastings are under 100. My ketones are a little bit higher. You don't have to measure if you listen to Dr. Kilt, but I like to measure sometimes.
Well, I track sometimes just to see, because I love information. And I usually find that when I track and I'm choosing the fatty meat, I'm usually 75% of my calories are coming from fat. And the more healing you need, probably the higher the fat needs to be. I know Renee's not with us today, but she has shared that she has to keep her fat percentage above 80%. And especially if you have immune system, autoimmune diseases, the higher the fat, the better.
Is that volume?
Autoimmune diseases.
Or not volume.
Brain, anything brain related, brain, nervous system, anything. And if you happen to be battling cancer, all those things, you might want to track your ketones and be more conscious about the macros. Yes, and you need to keep your fat as high as you can tolerate. Tolerate being a key word.
And it's not volume. It's not volume, because that sounds very intimidating. You'd be amazed at how just a really good fatty ribeye, it looks like there's a lot more protein volume wise than fat, but the actual percentage fat is pretty high. So that's why
it's about 50-50 on a ribeye, which when you calculate it into calories, then you're getting about a 30-70 on a ribeye.
Yeah, it's not as intimidating as it sounds, which is why, even if you don't have to track all the time, but maybe just track for a few days just so you can get an idea of eyeballing, what it looks like on the plate.
You were going to say something, Dr. Kilt?
Oh, I was agreeing. I mean, I think, most people don't even know what a calorie is. Anyway, I like the volume. I just look at it, the more fat on it, and you got to talk to your butcher and tell them, don't cut the fat off. And you have to actually look for sources of meat that actually are fattier, because even ribeyes can be really lean, and they're not as good, in my opinion. So I think that
if they're not lean, sometimes the stores, butchers they trim the fat off.
Yep.
I
sent you a picture the other day, Dr. Kills, right? Picanha steaks, and they had trimmed all the fat.
No.
That's exactly what happened to me at Costco. I couldn't believe it. I bought picanha and I opened up the package, and where's all the fat? They trimmed it off.
Yeah. Now, if you go to your butcher, a lot of times you can get the trimmed fat in addition. Just ask for it. Sometimes they charge a little bit. Mine gives it to me for free. He just wraps it up for me and gives it to me. So
I pay 99 cents a pound for fat trimming.
Yeah, you may have to call ahead, like the next, call the day ahead. But the butcher will save them. If they have a good butcher, they'll save them for you. And the fat trimmings, you can cut them I love cutting them into little bite-sized pieces and air frying them. And then you salt them, and it's like, I call it my carnivore popcorn.
Yeah, it's good.
So good.
Good stuff. Rich LeBoy gifted 10 Homestead How memberships. Thank you so much, Rich. Really appreciate that.
I want to add one thing, that if you're not feeling the healing, you need to go more raw fat. It's when you render it, you cook it, you change its dynamics and its molecular structure, and it makes more glycated components, which I think if you look at Pottinger's cats, it's something that can help a lot of people, is just try more raw fat, which sounds crazy, but I like Lynn, you salt it, you butter it up afterwards, and it tastes really good. It's the sauce is butter, and the salt, the sauce is butter, the season is salt. That's all you need.
Good stuff. All right, we're going to do a drawing real quick here. We have a whole bunch of people that entered. Thank you guys so much. We're going to continue answering your questions, but let's give away a Healing Humanity shirt. Here we go. Where did I put it? Giveaway tool. Drum roll. A winner of a Healing Humanity shirt is Dr. Robert Kiltz.
Dr. Kiltz,
Congratulations.
way to go.
You want to run it again and give it to someone else?
Yeah, I think we probably should.
Yeah, let's do that. Can you run it again?
I hope so. Let's see.
Yes,
here.
I think you can.
Here we go.
Okay.
One more time.
There's only
But it was
one
nice
left.
seeing that I won something today.
Target Prime Rib.
Thomas.
Thomas.
Way to go.
Congratulations. So,
Yeah.
to claim your Healing Humanity shirt, you just have to go to healinghumanity.movie/giveaway. Healinghumanity.movie/giveaway. Congratulations, Thomas. Target Prime Ribeye, another really good YouTube channel. Thank you, Thomas. All right, the next prize we'll give away is a Redmond's portable travel size salt shaker with keychain holder. We sell these for $20 to raise funds for the documentary. Just use hashtag salt. Ashley's holding one up right there. Hashtag salt with your best question. And we're going to do that drawing here in just a little bit. The next question we have is Family Roots Farm. Question: when I try to fast, I am so hungry. Am I doing something wrong? Everyone always says they're not even hungry. Carnivore now for 6 months.
Family Roots Farm. When fasting, it's that initial hunger pain that you have to get through. I think that's always the hardest day for me is day one. When I hear people say they're not even hungry, that's a lot of times after they've gotten through those initial hunger pains. Or if you can go for about 20 minutes and find something else to distract yourself with or whatever else, usually that 20 minutes you can get through a hunger pain pretty easily. At least that's what I've found when I've fasted.
And I do better if I feast before.
Yes.
And Valentine's Day was a perfect example. And I am not a heavy faster for sure. But Valentine's Day, my husband took me to Fogo de Chao. And I don't think I've ever eaten so much in one sitting in my life. I didn't eat that day yet. I ate so much. And so I just did an experiment with myself to see how long it would take before I actually felt any hunger pains. And it was like 26 hours. So I would imagine that the first day is going to go a lot easier if you just eat a lot the day before.
Yeah, look at
SPG. Protein. Lean protein by itself is not the same as the fatty meat. When you do consume the fatty meat, more fat, the longer I think you go. At least that's my experience.
I agree with the feasting. It helps. Salt, lick salt. That's the best thing I do. I have one of my Kiltz cups filled with salt, and I just lick my finger and do that a little bit. And that was Raymond Nazon from SPG's. He was tip. It just helps. But once you do it a while, you get more in tune to how to do it. I mean, I've been doing it for a few years now, and I'm on my 3-day fast right now. I'll do a 5-day fast 4 times a year, and it's just practice, and keeping busy. Someone mentioned that in there. You just I do it when I'm the busiest, and it helps the most.
Good stuff. Thank you. Hey, Dr. Kiltz, 5 a.m. live streams have changed me for the better. I get up early and I have more energy all day. Shout out Dr. Kiltz, 5 a.m. live streams. How long have you been doing those now for, Dr. Kiltz?
I don't know exactly. For a few years at least. I used to actually, about 15 years ago, I did it for a year. But I didn't do it live, but I would do a post every morning for a year, and I do a video. So it was it was a ton of fun, and so I just get back to it because I read it's the 5 a.m. Club. I can't remember. Robin Sharma, I think, wrote it. I can't remember the guy exactly, but it inspires me because I'm lonely otherwise. I have to have a group to connect with in the morning.
They're always so much fun. I've been catching more and more of them lately. It seems like the longer I go carnivore, I get up earlier and earlier. I got that morning energy going. So shout out Dr. Kiltz. Check out the 5 a.m. live stream. Dr. Kiltz on YouTube and Instagram and elsewhere. Thank you, Lewis. All right. We've got a question from Dawn. How much butter should I eat a day?
I don't know if there's any one particular answer, right? Dr. Kilt says 2.
Well, Bella, I was on with SPG, and Bella says 2 sticks a day. That's her general recommendation. So, I go with what Bella says on butter.
I mean, I think it depends on where you're at in your journey too, because early on you may not be quite fat adapted. And so, a lot of people go by their bowels. Your bowels are going to tell you if you're getting too much fat for where you're at the moment. So you might want to back off if you start to get loose stools, eat more if you're, not that you're constipated, but if you're having hard stools or, you have to strain. We don't worry about less frequent stools in the carnivore world, but we don't want you to strain or have the hard pellet stools. But the more...
I don't know if there's a specific amount of butter, but there is an influencer in the keto world that I disagree with her a lot, but she always talks about you got to have at least 200 grams of fat a day. Yeah. Stick of butter is, I think, 114 grams. Is it? I may be wrong.
I say a stick of butter a day. I tell my patients it helps kill the microbes, reduce inflammation, and butter never molds.
And hormonally too. I mean, the more metabolic healing you need, the more fat you're going to need. So, you may need more than someone who's coming from a better metabolic place.
Yeah, those plant poisons trying to kill us, control us. I agree with you, Lynn. More fat.
All right. Here we go. Just a lot of people just jumping on right now. I just want to make one quick announcement because there's a lot more people on now than were before. Just quick shout out one more time. Dr. Kiltz, myself, Laura Knight Hughes, Texas Boys, Nia Nova, Pastor Jimmy and Annette Pruitt, Austin, Texas, March 8th. Don't wait. If you want to go, I'd suggest getting the tickets. They're at healinghumanity.movie/events. And there's other events listed on that page as well that we have coming up soon. The next question we have is, here's a comment from Chris Stearns. Everyone calm down. Chris Stearns is here. Everyone just relax.
Thank
Papa
goodness.
Carnivore is here too, by the way. Shout out Papa Carnivore,
Chris
Stearns.
Chris is probably out there eating sardines.
Right. Carnivore Dan said, is Dr. Nelson losing weight? He is looking svelte.
Svelte.
You are looking great, Dr. Nelson.
Looking at myself, I see a little bit of difference. And you had mentioned a few weeks something like that, but my weight is about the same. So I'm gonna claim recomposition a little bit.
Nice.
Here you go, Dr. Nelson.
Here we go.
Yeah, I think you're losing some weight.
Yeah.
He looks awesome.
It's amazing.
By the way,
Danielle
Carrie, I pulled it out. I'm gonna keep it.
There you go.
Yeah. It looks like we got super chats too, Carrie.
Oh, thank you. Danielle has a question. Any supplement tip for someone without a gallbladder?
Lipase?
I mean, it's really because your pancreas makes lipases, pancreatic lipases, and so technically you shouldn't need anything. You should do fine. I think most people just still have some gut healing to do, and that'll help them a lot. But
yeah, I mean, do you think that maybe there's a bridge? Because if you're, someone going from eating low fat, maybe as a bridge just to get them through till they're fat adapted. Some people do ox bile, some people do lipase, but not that you need to keep doing it.
So who produces the bile is the liver.
Liver.
The gallbladder is just a reservoir. It stays there, and then when you start eating, you start pumping that bile out. So you know, they took the gallbladder out. Hopefully, it was indicated, not like many times it could have stayed in. But let's say someone with a gallbladder, you have to sort of retrain your body, your liver to be secreting. The part of the duct of the bile ducts, it becomes a little bit engorged on people without gallbladder. It's a pseudo gallbladder, and then from there you release. So retraining. What's a retraining? Keep increasing the amount of fat. If it's giving you a problem, just because you don't have a gallbladder, as long as you're not having a problem, then don't worry about it. Just eat what you're gonna eat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to go slower because I don't have a gallbladder. I had to go slower with building up on my fat, but your body will adapt.
Yeah. Same with me. No
I
gallbladder.
didn't take any supplements at all.
It's amazing, just to encourage you a little, Danielle, how many carnivores don't have gallbladders. It's a pretty high number. It's pretty remarkable. So you can definitely do it. Question
And
from
probably
Gunther.
the main cause of gallstones might be a low-fat
Low-fat diet.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
High protein diets are not good for us.
Yeah, I just had a high junk food diet before.
Right. Gunther with a $20 super chat. Thank you so much for that. I heard that on a carnivore diet, sleeping is essential for healing. I do 2 meals a day. I often feel like taking a nap after meals, especially the first. But if I nap, I don't sleep as long at night. Should I still nap if I'm sleepy?
I'm the nap king. I take 1 to 3 naps a day, 10 minutes usually, and I always sleep well. And I figure when I'm dead, I'm going to sleep a lot. So if I'm awake, I get up and watch Healing Humanity. Gary, but I would say that usually I pick up something to read or do something, and always get appropriately tired if I need be. But I wake up 2:30, 3 o'clock on carnivore. And then I get a lot done by getting up at that time. Go to bed usually at 9 o'clock. What time are we doing this till? I got to go.
So I have a question, a follow-up question on this from either of the docs. So when I read this question, my first thought is, what are you eating in that first meal? Like, is there something that you might be eating that might be contributing to you being sleepy after that particular meal? What do you doctors think? Is there a possibility that it could be something he's eating? Because I mean, we know after we eat turkey, people, the tryptophan, they get sleepy. Is there something that might be said about the actual meal composition?
Dr. Kills has a beautiful answer for this because
well, what does a lion do after they've just gorged on food? They sleep.
Maybe it's the quantity.
Well, but they sleep. Our gastrics, our blood flow that goes to the gut takes it away from everything else.
Okay.
Fight and flight, rest and digest. Our digestive system is built in order to work best when you're resting, and napping is normal. Most carnivore animals sleep a lot, nap a lot. We've been pushed to, you got to keep going, which I think that we're, because our work is no longer hunting, eating, reproduction, and sleeping. It's now about work. And so we're all on all the energy drinks, and we think something's wrong with us, and we're tired after food. Nothing's wrong with you, in my opinion.
I love that answer.
To this day, my ancestors in Spain still take a siesta.
Right.
Yeah. So maybe the rest of us are the ones with the issue, because we should probably listen to our bodies better and not push through and force ourselves to stay awake if we really do want to take a nap.
Yep.
If we have the opportunity.
Well,
So
and part of the problem,
if you're having a carnivore meal, and because that could also be a symptom of having diabetes and uncontrolled rises in blood sugar make people sleepy as well. Also, if you have sleep apnea, so there might be. But once you're on a routine, a carnivore diet, if you get sleepy, just take a nap if you can. Now, if I'm at work, I can't do it, But
Well,
I
but
usually don't have breakfast or lunch.
but I typically don't eat breakfast or lunch. I might have a snack like at lunch once in a while because everyone else is doing something. But the whole issue here is our breaks. Well, what do you do in a break? Okay, coffee, soda, smoke, whatever you're doing. But I go take a nap. I take that time. I say, 10-minute nap. Great. And it's a power nap and it's a little meditative, relaxing. We all have time because if you're a standard worker, you're supposed to get a break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a good point too, because I was actually going to add, set an alarm, because you mentioned if they take a nap, they don't sleep as long at night. So I don't know if you're just letting yourself sleep for as long as you need to, but I know power naps are awesome. Take a 10-15 minutes, set an alarm, wake yourself up. And that might be the way you can get your nap and then also still sleep at night.
Yeah, good stuff. When I get questions like these, I always like to go back to sort of the first principles, like what would humans have been doing forever? And I've gone down this rabbit hole with sleep, and I learned that humans traditionally, since the start of time, we've been biphasic sleepers. We've taken lots of naps. It's only recently in modern times where we're forcing ourselves to sleep throughout the night and then work all day. And
Busy. Yeah.
it's really not, goes back to the main thing of what is natural for humans. And I think taking naps and sleeping throughout different times of the day was more natural than trying to stay awake and sit under fluorescent lights all day in an office is kind of unnatural sort of thing. Thank you, Gunther. We have one more super chat, 50 pounds. I think that is from Omar. Thank you for that. My doctors diagnosed me with motor neuron disease. My right hand has muscle wastage and my voice is slurred slightly. Both my upper and lower neurons are not working from my MRI ESG. They said it's incurable, but I don't trust them one bit.
Neurodegenerative diseases. Unfortunately, I cannot argue the it's incurable part, but that doesn't mean you cannot improve your symptoms. And who knows if you can heal some of the stuff. We know here Renee, the Diana story. Are you interviewing her again, Carrie?
Yeah, actually, this Saturday, I'm doing a live stream with Dr. Kiltz Saturday night. I'm looking forward to that. And then 1 week from that Saturday, the following Saturday, I will have Diane on the channel who had MS and she's doing carnivore.
And
So
Adam
all
just had
brain
on
disorders, all brain disorders and nerve, this is a brain disorder, nerve issue. All of them improve on a very low or carnivore diet. That's the lowest you can go, carnivore. But might be one of those cases where might be a good idea to track your ketones and try to be in ketosis. How do you increase your ketones? Usually you play with the amount of fat and protein you're having. You have a little bit more fat, maybe a little bit less protein. And you find a happy medium to stay as long as you can in ketosis. Usually nobody is in ketosis for 24 hours, but
yeah. And check out Renee's channel at Eating Meat to Walk. And she's usually on our stream with us, but she couldn't make it today. But she has had experienced so much healing. But I know that in my little texting back and forth with her, she really has to keep her fat percentage high, over 80%. Yep. And she also has to be very much a very strict lion diet. But she went from, needing a cane and this neurodegenerative disease to now she's doing unbelievably well, but she has to keep it really reined in. And
very often people have high levels of insulin, which you wouldn't think, this is a neurodegenerative disorder. Get a level if you haven't gotten one.
Okay, what does that say?
Trying to read it, Dr. Kiltz.
Goitogenic foods.
Yeah.
I think.
Yep. Might be hard to see, but basically this is the list of all the foods that cause all the diseases, including neurologic disorders, neuromuscular disorders. And so what you're saying, I mean, basically carnivore, fatty meat. This is simple. Fatty meat, that's what you want to eat. Get rid of plants. Plants are poisonous. They cause every disease. And Dr. Nelson said, I mean, there's a lot of improvement. And in many cases, you get it early enough, it may clear up completely because, you know, I mean, how many diseases have you seen with severe debilitation go away on carnivore? I think that's what Healing Humanity stories are telling us. And so, you know, unfortunately, we doctors have been taught that a plant-based diet is good for us. And basically, it's the cause of all disease.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you. We have another super chat. Thank you so much for all these super chats. Sisse, $10. What causes insulin resistance other than eating high carb foods?
Well, nothing else, because that's the main issue. Chronic excessive carbohydrate consumption. You stop that, your insulin goes down, period.
Liver hepatogenous diabetes, liver damage. Because what happens is as the liver is damaged, insulin does not have the effects on the liver to make fat. And so ultimately it's resistant to working. But I don't think insulin resistance happens very often because our biggest problem is getting fat easily, correct? And since insulin's job is to make fat, I don't think that's our biggest problem, but it does cause more damage to the liver as you consume all the plants. I don't know. I wish we'd call it plants instead of carbs. Because ultimately, a carbohydrate, I mean, carbohydrates is sugar, right? Are there carbohydrates in meat? There are. And also a high protein diet's not good. Well, the glycocalyx is humongous in every species of organisms. And I just think we're allergic to the glycans. But you know, I think maybe as we talk and we learn more about the scientific stuff that we're taught, which is wrong, but you know, diabetes, type 2 diabetes goes away on carnivore. And ultimately, fatty liver gets better. So the more we just stick to animal-based, fatty animal-based, the better we are, and minimize Kiltz's ice cream.
All right.
Well, even Kiltz's ice cream, unless you're putting a sweetener, it's, what is it? Heavy whipping cream and eggs.
Yeah.
Chris Stearns, $10 super chat. Thank you, Chris. Seeing them shorts of Dr. Nelson's makes me think of the STP song. I'm half the man I used to be. And I wanted to thank Dr. Kiltz for his unwavering support and generous donation to Next Level Human.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris. And thank you again to Dr. Kiltz for his amazing support and generous donation to the documentary. That was another question I think I missed earlier. Someone was asking about the documentary. Thanks in large part to Dr. Kiltz. We're on the home stretch. We filmed 45 interviews. We have about 5 more to go to finish the main documentary. But we're doing the series as well afterwards. And I imagine the series will go on forever because there's so many incredible stories that just keep coming out. We've got quite a few of those already filmed for that series. So huge thank you to Dr. Kiltz. And thank you, Chris, for the super chat. Appreciate that.
And a huge shout out to Carrie, Adam, Ashley. I mean, everyone that's on this team, Lynn, Dr. Vasquez, because this is really critical for all of us. And the government's not going to do it. The scientists that are funded are not going to do this. And I think it's really like it's our stories, and the more that we help our brothers and sisters share the stories, the better.
Mm-hmm.
And Lynn and Amy are putting it down on paper and in books, and Adam and Carrie are putting it up on film. And you know, ultimately, the big screen is still the best.
Absolutely. All right. We have another question here. This is a good question from Amy. Considering coming to the Austin meetup, but I'll be by myself and I'm a newbie. Can you tell me a little bit more about the dynamics of the event? So,
Yes.
Ashley question.
yeah, maybe Ashley.
Absolutely. Well, the dynamics are amazing, and you want to be able to be there if you're considering it, because not only do you have experts in the room, you're going to have the Carrie Manns, the Dr. Kiltzes that have been doing this and it can help answer those amazing questions. You've got a lot of other carnivores that are in the same position that you are and go in there to discover and learn. And the Q&A session that we always have scheduled, and we've got a good length of time for Q&A sessions. It's a great opportunity to ask questions of the experts. But then we also do, which I think is probably, if you watch that trailer earlier, and maybe Carrie can play it again later before we end the stream, one thing you'll notice in the theater is all the socializing that is going on among all the like-minded folks that are in that room. And I think that's one of the coolest parts is you get to really have a lot of great interactions with other fellow carnivores. But we have a specific layout or plan that we do where we do probably about an hour and a half's worth of inspiring stories of people who have seen incredible transformations. And every meetup, we have different people that come up and tell their incredible stories. And then we have some time for socializing and getting to know other carnivores and getting to ask some of those questions. We're going to have a meal together, a good carnivore meal on this one. And then we're going to do a big Q&A session as well. So where everybody who wants to ask a question will have the chance to grab a microphone and ask a question from our expert panel. So it's an amazing opportunity to learn. And then the biggest thing, sorry, a long-winded answer here, but I get passionate about this because I love it. But the biggest thing is the relationships you build, because you're going to take those relationships from that event into these live streams. If you watch the chat, I can tell you, I recognize so many of these incredible carnivores that are in the chat, going back and forth, helping answer questions that we can't get to fast enough. And it's just an amazing community. So meeting those people in person, you build those relationships.
Yeah, you get to meet locals that are from your area. And so it'll be great to be able to connect with people so you can have your own little mini meetups. And don't be shy and come up and say hi to us when you see us there. Because
at all the meetups we've had people who have, I hear it every time, numerous times. Oh, I had no idea that there were other carnivores in my city that eat this way. So yeah, those local connections are great. And then you can start your own meetups.
Right.
We love hugs. We love connecting. And ultimately you realize, like Ashley and Lynn said, I mean, all the people here, we're already community. And so you're never coming alone. You're just coming to meet your community, your family, your friends. That's what we all are together. Yeah. That's the beauty of it. And I know there's so many great meetups happening. Our good friend Lisa Wiedemann does these carnivore cruises. I think there's so many other people are doing things that it's crazy. So now it's just, oh, what am I going to do this weekend or whenever it is? I'm going to a meetup.
Yeah. And all are welcome, right, Dr. Kiltz? We're not excluding anybody. We want you to come, whether you're carnivore one day or you've never started. Come on.
Yep.
Did we invite Dr. Nelson?
Yep. We've applied some pressure.
We're going to get him to Austin. I already know it. We're going to get him there.
Bring your swimming suit, Dr. Nelson.
Have a talk. We need to have a talk, by the way.
Yeah. Oh my God. Am I in trouble again?
The last thing I'll say, Amy, is you will be welcomed with open arms. It's a community. Don't feel shy about it. And you're guaranteed a hug by Dr. Kiltz for sure. If you come to an event and Dr. Kiltz is there, you get a hug, but you'll be with your people. There's something about being in a group of people that have gone through something really hard, that have a second chance at life. And there's just some energy there that you'll love it. So if you're worried about it at all, don't be. You'll absolutely love it. Great question. All right. We got to do a quick giveaway now. We're going to give away a Redmond salt shaker. Remember to enter. We're going to do one more giveaway after this. Just follow Dr. Kiltz, Ashley, Nelson, Lynn. All of their links are in the chat. And right now,
subscribed. I got like 2 followers only.
Yeah, go subscribe to Dr. Nelson's channel right now. It's blown up.
Get him up to 5.
Here we go. Redmond's portable salt shaker. The winner is going to be Dr. Kiltz again. Angela Mullins,
Wow.
congratulations, Angela! You have won a $20 Redmond's portable salt shaker. And in order to claim your prize, please visit healinghumanity.movie/giveaway. healinghumanity.movie/giveaway. And you got to be sure that you subscribe to Dr. Nelson's channel as well. Thank you so much for that. All right. The last thing we're going to give away here is, well, maybe we'll do two more things, but we're going to give away a 1-month membership to healinghumanity.life. 1 month free membership. Post #life with your best comment or question, #life. The membership site has been wonderful. We've got our Breaking Addictions calls, multiple Zoom calls. We just did our Thursday night Inspired Together call before this, and it was a powerful call. We've got doctors, experts, Q&A, Breaking Addictions, courses, and community, including that awesome picture of Lynn right there. It's one of our community posts. So #life. And if anyone's interested and you don't win, you can join. There's a link in the description. healinghumanity.life. There's a promo code to get you 50% off your first month. And the proceeds from the membership site also help to support the documentary and the series afterwards. So #life with your best questions. And let's see here. How do I got to get rid of that. There we go. Okay, the next question we have is from Amy Hasp, our friend Amy. Anyone hear about measles in the area? Texas has several outbreaks of measles.
Haven't heard any up here in Washington.
I don't listen to the news.
Yeah, I don't really either.
Yep, I haven't heard of any either. All right. Megan the medic, question, 25 female, might be too much information. There's never too much information here. But has anyone noticed during certain times of the month that you get hungrier?
Yeah, I mean, that happens on and off carnivore for women. But Dr. Kiltz with his, he specializes in female hormones. Maybe you can, have you had any experience with women on carnivore having their hormones stabilized to the point where they're more satiated and less hunger cravings?
Well, stabilized. Women do not have stable hormones.
Yeah.
They go up and they go down. They go up and they go down, and so so you got to be careful. But I would say that it is normal, probably post ovulation more so than anything, because if you think about our evolution, how much time did we spend not pregnant and not breastfeeding? Not much, because there was not much else to do, right? And so I would say that our problem is, your the luteal phase, post ovulation. You're supposed to eat up to get fatter, to have the fuel, the food, the building blocks of a baby, and so. But I haven't heard the story that much, but I think it makes sense that after ovulation, where you're supposed to be getting pregnant, you want to gain some weight.
So would you recommend just eat
meat?
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of this idea that, I don't know that evolutionarily speaking, we had choice. Oh, it's this time of my cycle and I've got to make sure I eat up. It depends if you had food, I imagine. But I think it's all our modern description of things that, I think we're hungry all the time. And especially our standard diet. On carnivore, I think probably, as you said, it levels out our addictions or our cravings, I would say, but more than anything. And so I think you feel better on a carnivore diet. You're not feeling all those ups and downs that we get on a standard plant-based low-fat diet.
Yeah. And I know I found it as I've been in various phases of my healing that my appetite changes all the time. I mean, sometimes I'm doing OMAD and other times I can't get enough to eat. And so I've just gone by just trusting my body to tell me what it needs. And so if I'm extra hungry one day, I eat more. And if I'm not hungry, I don't eat.
And when I'm at a meetup, I'm hungrier.
Oh yeah. Lots of brisket. We're kind of gonna have lots of brisket in Austin.
All right. Super chat from Gigi Quilts, $10. Thank you so much. I've lost 80 pounds since beginning carnivore in October.
Woo!
I had a lot, and I do mean a lot of inflammation. Also, I have lymphedema in both legs. They have gone down significantly. Any advice for my legs?
Vibration plate.
That's what I was going to say. Bill Knott has entered the chat, by the way, too. Our friend Bill Knott had a lot of success with lymphedema in his legs with the vibration plate, and so have many others, my wife included, had similar issues.
And if you can't, I mean, if you can't afford a vibration plate, you can't get one for like Facebook Marketplace for a good price. I mean, the rebounder, the mini trampoline can help too. I mean, man, that gets your lymphatic system moving. I made the mistake when I first got mine of going too much on it, and I felt it because it cleans out your lymphatic system like crazy and gets things moving. And I like afterwards, like after I'd been on it for a few days, I was exhausted. Like, what on earth is happening? And then someone told me, oh yeah, it really gets your lymphatic system moving. So I would say either one of those would probably be really good.
And Gigi, if you want to learn more, shout out Bill Knott. He's got a great YouTube channel. He's done several videos on his vibration plate. He's got a link in his description too if you want to know where to get one. Bill Knott on YouTube. Thank you for the super chat.
And Todd and Lindy did a really good video with, I forget her name, the name of the lady who specializes in lymphedema, but go to Limitless Lindy and you'll find there on her somewhere on her channel. I wish I remembered the lady's name now, but it was a fantastic interview.
Are you talking about Siobhan? Siobhan? I don't know how to pronounce that.
No.
Siobhan is the lipedema researcher. She also has. Is
that her first name? Giovanni? Yes. Yeah, no, it wasn't her. It wasn't her.
Siobhan, and then she's very frequently with a taller lady.
Okay. Well, if anybody in the chat knows who I'm talking about, put it in the chat.
All right. We have another super chat from Spectre. $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Pregnant on keto. How to stop nausea, and is CBD okay?
Well, it's interesting. We have recommended CBD in the past. I don't do it very much, but think about some of these things as medicinal. And what does nausea and vomiting in early pregnancy say? Don't put food in this mouth to protect this baby. And I would say carnivore, chew the fat. Chew the fat. It'll melt, and it says the least problem. So I think you chew raw meat. But again, it's everyone's ideas. Like, 50,000 years ago, were we saying, I can't eat that meat?
So do you have patients who are able to stop their nausea just by, eating some butter?
Again, we're looking for a fix for a physiologic event that says don't eat.
Yeah.
So the best fix is don't eat. Because the problem is most people, it's a plant-based diet and their stomachs and guts are already full. And so they've rarely gone days without food. And real fasting is what you really want to do in order to help that child out. But I would say, things like even bone broth, frozen, but even butter, just, lozenges, like a lozenge of butter, frozen butter. Because butter has all the minerals, vitamins, and building blocks of your body and your baby. you pretty much need nothing else, because the fat, and that's why I say raw fat is the best thing to chew on. It'll as you're chewing it, you'll begin to get that in. We say, chew ice cubes or crackers. Why not chew meat? Dry age is best, fatty. But again, nausea, vomiting. There was a USC researcher that basically talked about this a few years ago, that hyperemesis of pregnancy is protection. To not eat. We're built to get fat and pregnant, and then we're built to fast in the first trimester, because that's the most sensitive time for that baby. Try freezing some bone broth and making small little chips of that to put in. But again, most people aren't. Now, there's some women that are already very thin, anorexic, bulimic, or very skinny. They don't have enough fat in their body. In those cases, sometimes people need intravenous fat. We use Omegavon, which is fish oil lipids. It's an intravenous fat. But it also contains egg protein, so you really getting the food you need. But that's pretty serious, and it's not that common. Lynn, you're mystified.
No, I'm just really interested in this. I mean, I never worked in fertility. I experienced infertility myself in my 20s. I had PCOS, and I know what you call it. And I just kind of think back, and of course I would never give up my 3 kids that I adopted, but I think back to going through the fertility issues and wish I had known you back then. So.
All right, good stuff. Target Prime Rib, $2 super chat. Thank you, Target Prime Rib. If you haven't already, hit the like button. Oh, thank you for saying that.
Thanks, Thomas.
All right. Wood Alberts has a question. My wife and I have been on carnivore for 5 months. She has been strict and have been in a weight stall for 3 months. Any suggestions?
Is she eating dairy? That would be my question.
Yeah, usually cheese. The other thing I always say to people, like if you're doing something for a long time, you're doing carnivore, maybe try switching it up a little bit. It's not a stretch to go from carnivore to lion diet, and you don't have to commit to it for your whole life, but maybe try lion diet for a couple of days and see how you feel. It usually seems like when you do a switch up like that, you start to see things move.
I stalled for months, and I found that I wasn't eating enough. And I added a really, really hearty breakfast and increased the amount of food I was eating, and that broke my stall.
So 5 months means for 2 months she did lose some weight. It doesn't say how much. And the body, if it was a lot, the body says, oh, wait a second, what are you doing? We're in a famine here. It might be just a matter of weighing it out. Just be patient, but you might be under eating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever been weighed on a 500 calorie diet? There are people who have done 500 calorie diets, and at some point they stop losing, and they may even gain weight.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think we know what a calorie is. Our body's smarter than anything else.
Yeah.
Our body does not want to be skinny. So our persistence to try to be skinny is physiologically incorrect. And so you reach a stall because, okay, let's just use this term. You're eating more energy than you're expending. And when we say eating, meaning not only putting in your mouth, but absorbing it into your body. But ultimately, and you have a very good liver, and if you're staying whatever weight you are, but ultimately, no animal tries to be skinny, none. It's evolutionarily bad idea, and with the world as it is, you might be spending years in captivity or more time than you know, or under very severe circumstances that can happen naturally or man-made, that we would wish we were fat.
It could be carnivore foods like heavy whipping cream, milk, cheese.
He did clarify in the chat that it was heavy whipping cream and some cheese.
I had to stop that. In addition to eating more, I had to stop it. I was doing the same. Heavy whipping cream. I was having coffee in the morning. I stopped all the dairy completely. I eat butter, but yeah.
I still have a trouble with this idea of eating more. I mean, it still doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't make sense to me either.
I think it's wrong because remember, we're all talking a story. Because how many times do we watch exactly what people eat? Never. And I don't even remember what I eat. Well, I do now because I eat the same thing. But most people can't even tell you what they ate. And all of us, I mean, on my standard diet, I couldn't either. I think it really is. We don't know what the breakdown of the food we eat and how many, quote, caloric particles that it contains and how it's absorbed in our body. And I mean, if I don't eat, I maybe lose about 1 pound a day, despite the fact I do all my regular activities. And then the moment I have a standard carnivore meal, it goes right back up.
Yeah, I mean, I just added breakfast. And it may be that since I don't track, it may be that adding that meal in the morning, I was more satiated throughout the day. And, because sometimes when I was just doing OMAD, I would find myself hungry in the evening. So I go grab, beef stick or grab something to eat and so I was just shifting the calories earlier in the day. And it was really the skipping the dairy that made the difference.
Yeah, I don't think we really know the value of the food we eat. Its relationship to the energy that we intake into the bloodstream through the gut.
All right. Question from Mara. Day 38 on carnivore, I had 2 urinary tract infections so far. Haven't had one in years. Could it be related to carnivore? Is this common for beginners?
Same thing happened to me. I don't have an answer why. All I can tell you is it happened to me too.
My sense is carnivore or not, all these common things happen anyway, but think of it a little like oxalate dumping. A UTI is an inflammatory response, and the microbes that are in the bowels, they may be in a sort of rapid moving out of where they're at because they're not getting what they want. And microbes move. They're not just stagnant. They move. And they go out the rectum anus into the vagina, into the urethra. So again, it may be because they're getting a lot more fat. There may be some die outs. Do we try to move when times get tough?
Interesting.
It's well known that the microbes in the rectum anus go out and they colonize our perineum, correct?
Mm-hmm.
They colonize the vagina, urethra, the bladder, and everything. And they're not supposed to be in the bladder, but they get there, and they're common UTIs in women. And I would say again, it's oxalate. Think of it like oxalate dumping.
Yeah. Well, I know it's all TMI, but that's why, when we're learning in nurses and nursing assistants, when you're cleaning patients, wipe front to back, never go back to front, because you don't want to grab all of that, the bacteria. where it
But
doesn't
even
belong.
without that, the bacteria and yeast are getting there because they're everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, our skin is not sterile.
No,
and
it's
our
not.
rectum anus, no matter what you wipe, we take a little swab and put it on a culture dish. It thrives. We didn't we didn't smear it. It was just like barely touching. So I think it's just everywhere.
Yeah.
The microbes own us.
Do you think either the doc, do you think that going from a plant-based diet to a carnivore diet, that often we don't drink enough fluids and that our bladder, that can be impacting our bladder?
No, because excess fluids aren't helpful for us. And excess fluids may damage the glycocalyx, which is critical for the membrane stability. And UTIs and bowel infections and vascular infections are a breakdown of that. We drink too much water. We make water. And so this idea, I've got to flush things out, I don't think we've ever proven that. We sell a lot of water, though.
Yes.
Stephen has a question. Any ideas to lower high ferritin while on carnivore?
Well, first of all, is it high ferritin? If you just have one blood test and it was high, because ferritin is the iron storage, but it's also reactive to inflammation. So when you have inflammation, it may go up. So first, I like to document that it is really high. Usually will be high along with iron levels being high. But if your doctor has decided you have too much ferritin, very likely you have very good hemoglobin and hematocrit, and you can donate blood. That'd be a way. Anyone who has a little bit higher hemoglobin, you can safely donate.
Good.
Yep.
Yeah, donate blood. Yeah, I had a high ferritin level after starting carnivore, and then it's same thing. It was like it was just a one high reading. So of course you want to look,
It
and
might be transient. It might be transient.
Yeah, and the doctor checked my iron stores. It was fine, and so the next time we checked, it was coming down. And so we are thinking, and I had a ferritin checked a few years before I got really sick, and it was normal. So our thought was that with my mast cell flare, how sick I was, and I was very acutely ill, that it was probably even higher before. So my doctor was like, well, we're not going to worry about it. We're just going to watch it. And didn't recommend donating blood. Just said, look, we're just going to keep an eye on it. And it's a marker, of inflammation. And as my inflammation is going down, my ferritin's going down.
And we'll see you in 6 weeks.
I-
Don't get the test.
I just donate blood.
Yeah, that's good. You're helping other people out. That's the most important thing.
Yep.
Good stuff. Hey, real quick, I got to do a shout out. My buddy Bill, my brother Bill, is in the chat, and kind of against his will, Emma and I set this up, a little Christmas present, did some designs for Bill, and put this up on a site for him. There's Bill and Daisy shirts. Daisy in Alaska, be kind to one another, repent, repent, repent. So if anyone's interested in supporting Bill, I'm really excited because Jen and the girls were taking a little family vacation. This isn't for the documentary. We're just going on as a family vacation this August. This summer, we're going to go up and visit Bill and hang out with Bill. So anyone's interested in supporting Bill and getting one of those cool shirts, I will leave a link in the chat right now. The next question we have is Squeaky Melissa. I've been on low carb for 10 years. I did lose 100 pounds. I have rheumatoid arthritis. Want to start carnivore. Should I do it gradually? Not sure where to start.
Well, how low carb are you doing? Because if you're doing low carb, you're ready to take
you're ready.
a
Jump
dive.
in.
Yeah, I went cold turkey from eating the worst standard American diet you could probably think of. but I'm a little bit of a masochist that way because it's just the way my brain works. It's all or none. But you know, like Dr. Nelson said, yeah, if you've been doing low carb for 10 years, you should be fine going right into carnivore. And with your rheumatoid arthritis, you will probably need to go lion diet if you really want to heal the rheumatoid arthritis. And I would definitely recommend going low histamine carnivore if you want to see more quicker results. That's what I had to do, was low histamine. So I can't do the aged meat, and I can do a little bit, but I can do aged or smoked, and had to stick with just the ruminant, very, very fresh ruminant meats, salt and water. I did that for a whole year, and now I can actually eat foods that are a little more, higher in histamine, but it took about a year.
Jump in.
Dive right in, huh?
Dive right in.
Dive right in.
Yeah. Bella went from vegan to carnivore.
Yep.
And they tapped into the community while you're going in, because we can help, navigate if you're having any sort of adaptation symptoms, or, we can help. So stay tapped in.
Absolutely. All right. We've got a question from Susan Lydia. $5 super chat. Thank you, Susan. I wish I knew you when trying to carry. 1, ectopic. 2, miscarriages, low progesterone. Never mentioned diet. I finally conceived naturally after leaving doc age 32 and 34 when pregnant.
I wish we knew this too way back when.
Mhm.
That's what we're here to do, is to share the story, help educate the docs, the practitioners, everyone in this world at all levels. But we're learning together. So keep sharing.
Thank you for that, Susan. And we have another super chat from Omar. I am new to carnivore. I buy lamb leg, ask for the fat, and boil it for bone broth. I drink the broth, discard the bones, and fry the lamb in butter until crispy. Is this okay? And is there any advice?
Invite us over.
Yeah, when's dinner?
Yeah.
It sounds amazing. Are
Great,
you assuming you're salting your meat? That sounds amazing.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Omar. I think you're definitely on track there. I don't know that we have any advice.
Love lamb. Love it.
Oh yeah,
And it's cheaper than beef.
it is.
Yeah, I think we don't talk enough about lamb, and I know it depends where you're at in this world, but one of the best.
I think that donation was in pounds, so I think lamb's definitely cheaper over there too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I buy lamb from my local rancher, and beef.
Target Prime Rib, Thomas, as you know, my pant size has gone down, but according to my friends and family, my head has gotten bigger. Is that normal on carnivore?
Yes.
Perfectly
Yeah.
normal.
Carrie can attest.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think we got that one already. All right, here's another
There's
one.
that book, right? That vegans' brains are smaller. It's a fairly new book.
Why
that came out.
vegans' brains are smaller?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So yes, it would be expected that your brain is going to get bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. Amy Hosp, our friend Amy, a carnivore created in secret. I partially dislocated a spot in my neck last night. Is it true that using heat or ice is not helpful for injuries? I've heard both, that it's good and not good. This is hurting more and more.
We need Dr. Baker here, Mr. Orthopedic.
Both are correct.
Yeah, unfortunately, whatever makes you feel better would be my answer. And knowing that Amy has some other things.
Yeah. Yeah. The
that
EDS
contributed to this.
I guess the question I have, and I'll have to text her, is like, is it still dislocated and that's why it's hurting? Or is it hurting because you have some inflammation in the area? So, I know she dislocates stuff all the time. Well, not as often on carnivore. But I mean, the way we were trained, and again, I don't know if this is really accurate or not, but the way we were trained is you ice it the first 2 days, you go 20 minutes 3 times a day. And then after the first 2 days, you can alternate heat and ice. That's the way the training was. I have had, like, my youngest daughter had spinal fusion surgery when she was 14. She got like 16, bolts, rods all up and down her back. And if she tweaks her back, she's in agony. And the only thing that helps her right after her injury is to ice. So, it depends. She'll ice it, and, you got to ice it till it's painful and then goes numb. But that actually is what helps her. So
whatever you do, please don't do it for more than an hour at a time, which is on the completely outside range. I've seen, but this was more on the heating side. Someone went to sleep with an old style heating pad, because nowadays they shut off automatically, but she went to sleep with an old style. Burns, 2nd-degree burns, at least a quarter of her back. So, and the same happens with eyes, not to the same degree, but so normally you'd want to be half an hour.
Yeah.
Okay, probably up to an hour.
And never directly on the skin. I usually put a dishcloth or something, and then,
I imagine the best thing to do is rest it. I imagine for the first 50,000 years or 350,000 years, it's like, can you go give me some ice? Can you give me a heating pad? I mean, ultimately, rest is the best thing you could do. And
no more brick dancing, Amy.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I want to do.
Question from Chris. Do I need acetophilus on carnivore diet?
Acidophilus.
Acidophilus. Darn it.
Good try. I don't think so. I mean, do we even really know what a normal gut microbiome is? I read on one of the books I've been reading that the original there's a study that was done on African teenage boys that were very healthy, and they did the fecal tests on them and determined what their gut microbiome was. And they decided, and I think there's maybe 15 of these boys in Africa, and they decided that that's what the normal gut microbiome is for the whole world, which is ridiculous.
It's all BS. It's all BS. I'm sorry. There's a lot of, well, that's a good one. It's all BS, because ultimately the microbes ferment in the gut and they want to take us down. They're everywhere. Why have we decided they're good or bad and which ones are good or bad? Who decides that? The science is just so wrong on that. They're trying to sell us something that doesn't make sense. It is true the microbes will kill you when you're sick. It's because usually they're this term out of balance. I mean, I guess when I get yelled at, is my partner's out of balance? I can never get yelled at, by the way.
Well, one of the big things that's important is to have enough stomach acid, because so many people have been on antacids, whether it be H2 blockers or PPIs, that turn off your acid production to one degree or another. And in the United States and places with good sanitation, it's not necessarily always an issue. But if it's the acid in your stomach that protects you against the pathogens. And so,
well, the pathogens survive amazing things if you think about it. In this,
and you need some
evolutionarily, right? I think they do, but so Amy, I used to take all those things all the time, always sick on a standard diet, and I agree with you that the microbes, they're bad for us. Acidophilus. I mean, when did we eat Acidophilus?
Sounds like a dinosaur to me, so I'd say a long time ago.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, our gut microbiome is going to adapt based on what we're eating, and I mean that's been shown. And I personally think it's going to adapt to what you need based on what you're eating. I had a GI map test done that my naturopath ordered, and it was expensive test, but it's like, oh, you have low levels of all these bacteria that are there that you need because they're there to fight inflammation. And I'm like, but maybe my gut doesn't need them anymore, because I don't have inflammation.
What's that?
What is the prescription? Eat the fatty meat.
Fatty meat and butter. That's it. They're killed in the butter solution and fatty meat, but they do ferment protein. That's why a high protein diet is deadly.
All right, we got a couple of questions about meetups. Can you come to Alberta for a meetup?
That'd be
The answer
awesome.
is yes. We just don't know when.
Right? As soon as Dr. Kiltz picks me
Worldwide.
up in his airplane, I'm going.
All right, but it's being repaired right now, so we gotta wait.
All right, once the plane is fixed, we'll be out. We'll be in Alberta. When is the Austin event?
Austin, March 8th.
March 8th.
That's like 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
Let's go.
healinghumanity.movie/events. And there's a link in the description. You can find out when the Austin event is and where all of the events are. Another one, are you ever coming to Ohio? Saw Adam here last summer. I don't think we have any currently planned, but I'm sure we'll be out there at some point.
That is where Adam is at.
We got to have Adam host one and host a big one, and then we'll all head over that way. All right.
And maybe there's ways that people could sponsor their own Healing Humanity meetups around the globe, and create sort of small pods of Healing Humanity to sort of help share and spread the word.
Yeah. Hey, reach out to us if anyone's interested in doing that, because we do get a ton of requests. What about here? What about here? And that's one great thing. I know, Ashley, you've talked about this before, but having the logistics or having someone with local knowledge on the ground there that knows how to set it up. But that'd be cool to have a bunch of satellite or do one on a Saturday. Just have them at a bunch of different locations all over the country or world would be pretty cool.
Let's have a super meetup day.
Yeah.
Right?
We could check in from each one live.
Yeah.
Live from Alberta, live from Ohio.
Everyone, you buy the shirts or hats or whatever it is as part of the sort of the Helping Heal Humanity. All the proceeds go to help, continue to share more stories around the globe.
Good ideas. I love it. Inspiring stuff. Ashley's going to be working on that right away.
Yes.
On it.
Thank you, Ashley. No, but it is a really good idea. We'll have to talk about that
That'd be
more.
fun.
That'd be really fun.
That'd be really fun to do. We'd have to coordinate all the time zones. That'll be interesting.
Yeah. Question from Winter Moon Hollow. Is it normal in the very beginning of carnivore to get a little shaky? It's not bad, just kind of odd. I'm thinking it's because there's not the sugar in my body anymore.
It's called withdrawal.
Could very well be. Yep.
Just withdrawing to plant toxins. Heroin, cocaine, marijuana, nicotine, caffeine, and alcohol are all plant products essentially, and we withdraw to them all the time. I'm hangry. I've got to eat something. I've got to have my coffee. I've got to have a cigarette. These are all withdrawal symptoms because the plants know how to keep you in line.
It's so nice not having that anymore, by the way, isn't it?
Oh my God. No more coffee, no more tea, no more alcohol, no more vegetables, no more fruit, no more seeds, nuts. It's amazing.
Just having that addiction that was kind of steering things all the time. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to have this. And now it's like, I don't have to do anything. I mean, I got to eat, but it's not an addiction. It's more of a putting fuel in the tank kind of appreciation.
I'm addicted to Healing Humanity.
You need help. I was going to say earlier when you said you get up at 3 a.m. and watch me on YouTube, you end up with nightmares that night. Diego
will pass.
Right.
Yeah.
Diego says, what is healthier, butter or raw cheese?
Butter.
I'd say
because butter's not fermented, and That's and yeah, I think butter is still the healthiest.
Well, there's two kinds of butter. There's cultured butter and there's sweet cream butter. And cultured butter is has some slightly fermented. I mean, but it's very minimal. I found that with sweet cream, I did better, but that was from a histamine standpoint.
And pasteurized, you got to be careful on all the pasteurization too. I think raw butter is the best. Can I say that on YouTube?
We'll allow it.
Okay.
You just did.
Lonnie Singleton, low histamine. This might be a good question for Lynn. How do you know if you need to adjust, and what type of meat do you buy and or stay away from?
So I would say start with watch my histamine video on my channel, because I go into a lot of detail on that. As far as how do you know, like what are the common symptoms of histamine issues that can affect basically in any part of your body. So I would get familiar with that. Most people that have issues with histamine, it's just temporary. And so if you can kind of keep your histamine exposure low, you should get better. But as far as meat goes, aged meat is going to be higher. Smoked meat is going to be higher in histamine, more reactive from a histamine standpoint. So you want to go as fresh as you can. Bacon, unfortunately, is a little higher, which can be problematic. Egg whites can be a challenge for people. So you may need to just stick with egg yolks. But I would say watch the video. It goes into a ton of detail. Even some seasonings can be a little more problematic than others. If you do just salt, you should be fine. But pepper is higher in histamine. If you have a problem, you may need to stay away from pepper. So yeah, educate yourself. And then, you can just try a low histamine approach and see how you feel.
Pepper makes me itchy and I sneeze.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I had it severe because I had mast cell activation syndrome. So I would get anaphylactic responses. My throat would swell and I'd get severe hypertension and, tachycardia. But on a baseline reactivity level, I was always felt like I had the flu. I'd get heart palpitations. I'd definitely get itchy, but I had bladder irritability. My bladder would just release its contents. I had horrific pain, my gut, every part of my body. My brain fog was horrific. I couldn't even get my words out. I slurred my speech. So I had a more extreme situation. So I had to go really strict. And it took me a whole year on a low histamine lion diet before I felt like I could start experimenting. And my rosacea, those of you guys who know me, my rosacea was horrific.
Thank you, Lynn. Question from Susan Hampton. Does anyone know if mild essential head tremors can stop on the carnivore diet? I've been carnivore for 20 months. I believe mine have stopped.
Well, we're not going to say the name of the person, but we have a member on our Healing Humanity Life site who we have watched because she came into us with essential tremor. It was hands, head, voice, and was not carnivore yet. Yes. And Dr. Nelson, we've been talking about this on our site, and it has been amazing to watch.
I met her in Tampa, and she was showing me,
no more shaking. Her voice is steady. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, Susan.
So it can help not just mild essential tremor; it can help more severe essential tremor too.
Amazing.
Neurologic damage secondary to plant toxins, inflammation. All are healed by eating the proper human diet and eliminating poisonous plants, which are all of them.
Here's a question. Which cohort of the population didn't tend to get sick during the 2020 virus?
Kids.
Carnivores.
I mean, it was kids. I wasn't carnivore then, but
I did not get COVID.
Yeah, I did. I got COVID. I didn't get the COVID shot, and I was working as a nurse. I was fortunate. I was able to get an exemption, but I did get COVID, and I was not carnivore. Well, okay, so I went carnivore for 6 weeks before because I knew I was going to get it, and I was very morbidly obese, and so I was concerned. But I was also on all the prophylaxis, that was recommended and nobody could talk about. And so, but I did do carnivore for about 6 weeks. And my reason was because I thought you wanted to try to lose weight. I didn't know that it was a healing diet back then. And so I stopped doing carnivore after I breezed through COVID, which was stupid of me. But my why back then was different. It was like, I don't want to die. I lost my brother-in-law from it, and I didn't want to die, and I didn't want to end up in the hospital. And so, yeah.
Right.
The more metabolically sick you are, the more likely you are to get any infection. And most of the people who died during that period were very metabolically sick.
Yeah, but which is why I was nervous, because I was very metabolically sick. So I knew I was probably one of those that could have succumbed.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Question for Dr. Kiltz. Do you think that oxalate dumping is a known phenomenon to mainstream health professionals?
Dr. Nelson, agree?
No.
Right? No. I mean, carnivore isn't even known to them. Not yet, but we're here to share.
Do medical people know the word oxalate?
Well, the word oxalate, it is known to most people because that you learn in probably first year of medical school about, even in university, chemistry and biology, learn about the Krebs cycle. And so the word and is known. Some of the kidney stones are calcium oxalate. So the word is known, but the oxalate dumping is not.
All right. We're going to do a drawing here just shortly for 30 free days on healinghumanity.life. Use hashtag life if you have any final questions. Make sure to follow Dr. Kiltz, Ashley, Carnivore Brothers, Dr. Nelson, and Lynn. All of that is in the description below. Just a couple more questions here.
One more super chat, too.
Oh,
you have to get to that one.
Yeah, I missed it. Does your appetite decrease after eating carnivore for several months?
I mean, mine didn't. Mine got better, but mine was terrible before. I couldn't even feel hungry, at least not in the traditional way.
Mine decreased after 3 or 4 days.
I think
carbs, yes.
I think evolutionarily speaking, we're hyperphagic around the summer, fall, in order to consume the plants, in order to get fat. And when you go to the meat, there's a lot of meat around. It's springtime, and it reduces our appetite. I think I kind of felt lower appetite. I mean, my appetite's less than it was when I used to had to eat 3 meals a day. And now it's like 1 or less.
Yeah. So,
but
from the perspective of carbs, yeah, I have no desire for carbs.
But like you said, it's going to be different for all of us in our appetites.
Yeah. But it does vary. You're right. You're right, Dr. Kiltz. It does vary.
$5 super chat from Chris Stearns. If I fed pigs only ribeye, would their bacon be considered a superfood? Oh my God, I'm on to something.
Well, Chris.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris.
He's working on taking Dr. Nelson's spot as a comedian.
Right. Dr. Nelson's writing these ones down. Beth is asking, is it terrible to use cheese to stay out of the cookies and cake until the cravings subside?
No, do it. Cheese is going to be better than cookies and cake all day long. So if that's what it takes to keep you out of the cookies and cake, eat the cheese.
Yeah, but don't be afraid to try butter. You know, it may seem kind of weird. Unsalted. Yeah, unsalted. Salted is crazy. It's like, oh, but you know, if you take it right out of the fridge, it's actually pretty good. If you just let it take a bite and let it melt in your mouth. And it's actually really delicious.
Yeah, I've got to where I love just cold butter.
Cold butters. Yeah, it's just really good.
Bacon could be another option instead of the cheese too. Bacon seems to help a lot of people with cravings, myself included.
I say yes, just in the comparison, right? But yeah, there's definitely some other options that you can have. Bacon's a great go-to.
Yeah, so it's not terrible, but there are better options that might give you the same effect.
Good clarification.
Yeah.
Simpson Johns. I've had such healing with the carnivore diet of my agoraphobia, social anxiety. Would love to go to a meetup. So my question is, how many people approximately will be there? Well, the one in Austin, how many does that one hold?
I think we can have up to 186 is the total there for that one, but I don't expect it to be quite that many. I hope so. Sign up. Come on. But
you expect it? They're going to be overflowing.
I expect that there's usually about 150 at the meetups that we've been at. It's a great number. Not too bad.
Come.
And you'll have Texas brisket.
Yes.
All right. How much daily fat and protein in order to put on muscle while on carnivore?
I think that's going to vary for each individual personally. I mean, I put on 25 pounds of muscle and I put on almost 2 pounds of bone. And I was eating various quantities from day to day, but still putting on the good tissue.
Our adipose tissue is converted to muscle. When a bear hibernates and they gestate 4 little baby bears, they lose only adipose tissue, yet they build muscle on those baby bears, right? So our adipose tissue actually provides all the minerals, vitamins, and building blocks for our body. And so, I don't know that we know, just do resistance work, right? If you want to build muscle, that's really the answer.
Yeah. If you're doing a lot of resistance work and a lot of exercise, you'll probably want to eat more. That's the thing we were talking about earlier with carnivore. I don't measure anything. The girls and I, we're going to the gym after this. We've been exercising and doing stuff more, and I've been eating more. And it's like, well, it's because I'm working out more. But I don't measure it or try to calculate it or figure it out. I'm just like, am I hungry? Okay, I'll have a little bit more at this meal kind of thing. That's the beauty of carnivore that I love too, by the way. There's none of these calculations or measurements or anything. And also, it's different now than it was when I started carnivore, than 6 months in carnivore, than when I had a bunch of body fat still on me. So those questions are always kind of hard to answer.
Unless you're a numbers geek like me, and I love using my body composition scale and looking at the numbers. Not that I'm obsessed with them. I just enjoy looking and watching the trends. And so because it was so inspiring to me, especially early on, to see that I was gaining muscle and bone in particular, as mid-50s woman. I was like, whoa, really? I started out, they give you a scale as far as like what's normal range. And I was in the low range for bone mass. And now I'm right smack dab in the middle of the normal range for bone mass. That was huge. So that was super motivating.
Good stuff. Hooligan Fish, starting on March 9th, we're getting baptized and going for the 40-day fast to Easter. Wow. Any tips on fasting this long? Are there signs to give up? How much, if any, exercise would be safe? Malden sea salt.
The number one recommendation is salt, and you can do whatever exercise you want to do because fat is the only fuel for the body, not sugar ever. And every adipose cell in your body contains plenty of glycans, which are sugars that are critical for glycosylation. And there's lots of glucose in it.
So are there any signs to give up? So I would assume after trying salt, if they still don't feel well, what signs are they looking for?
You're going to withdraw once you get through the withdrawal symptoms. But really, like anything else, the body wants, it's going to be hard. But if you have good support and it's spiritual, I think if you're cachectic and emaciated, if you have little to no fat on your body, that's bad.
And how long have you been fasting before? Because if this is your first attempt to fasting, that, as opposed to being used to fasting, even if it's 3-7 days, what's your longest fast, Dr. Kilt?
7 days, November. I usually do my 5-day fast. I'll do it in April. I did it in January, but I haven't gotten to 10 yet. I don't know. I could do it. I just don't know that I really need, or maybe it's the want to.
Yeah.
Well, many people have done it. Certainly 40 days fasting is mentioned, of course, in the Bible a bunch of times with different people. So I guess it's possible. Of course, there are people who have been documented to fast over a year.
I think a lot of people, when they say fasting, especially religious fasting, often they do it from sunrise to sunset. And so they're really not, that's that daily spiritual fast. But I think what we're talking about here is no food for 40 days. It's absolutely possible. Many, many, many species do not eat for months, even some for years.
I want to hear how that goes. That's amazing. 40 days.
Yeah,
Wow. Keep us posted, Hooligan Fish. That's incredible. All right. Well, we're coming to the end of the stream here. We're going to do a giveaway for the Healing Humanity membership site. So we'll do that now.
So, hey, Carrie, before you actually run it,
yep.
I just want to make sure if you win the free month, make sure you check your spam folder because you'll be getting an email from me, Lynn at healinghumanity.movie. And so I noticed that there have been people who I've sent them, I'm going to send you a coupon code to use to sign up. And there's people who haven't used it. So I just want to make sure everyone knows to be watching for that email from me. And if you don't see it, check your spam folder.
All right. Thank you, Lynn. So we're giving away a 30-day membership, healinghumanity.life. If you don't win and you still want to join us for a month and get in the community, there's a link in the description below. Avi May. Congratulations, Avi May. 30 days, healinghumanity.life. And you can claim that at healinghumanity.movie/giveaway. Healinghumanity.movie/giveaway. All right. Stop sharing. There we go. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. Dr. Robert Kiltz, Ashley Carnivore Brothers, Dr. Nelson, Lynn Midlife Carnivore. We got the big meetup coming on. If you jumped on late, come and join us out in Texas. healinghumanity.movie/events. Go check out Dr. Rob Kiltz, drkiltz.com. Follow everyone here. Does anyone have any other announcements or anything you guys want to mention before we wrap up?
Real quick. I got two. Go ahead, Ashley.
real quick, I saw a comment earlier in there, but we didn't allude to it. Somebody asked, how do you get the Healing Humanity shirts and hats? Go to the healinghumanity.movie website. There are opportunities to purchase from that website there. You can click on the links that are found there. And then our meetups, as Carrie alluded to, healinghumanity.movie events. You'll see everything that we have posted there, including the next one in April, which will be in Tennessee, and then the one in June in the Seattle timeframe. Or
Yes.
Seattle area timeframe. Seattle area.
Yeah, June 7th
Yes,
in my neck of the woods.
that's
in
right.
Washington. And I just wanted to say, for those of you who want a free membership or you're new to our healinghumanity.life, just want to give you guys a heads up that when you get in there, go under the community tab to groups and find our Start Here group. And we have a recording of a Zoom call. Adam and I started a new member orientation. So we did our first one in February. Go watch that Zoom call. It'll tell you everything you need to know about how to navigate the site, how to manage your membership, and that will hopefully answer all of your questions and help you really utilize that free month and get the most out of the site. So you can evaluate whether it's bringing you value and when you want to continue.
Good stuff. Awesome. Thank you so much. Huge congratulations to Grandpa Kiltz as well. That's such exciting news. Thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you, everyone, for all your great questions. We'll see you all on the next one. Have a good night.
Night
Night.
all.
Beep, beep, beep.